Hello everyone, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of the Flash Season 8 review series. And today I am going to be talking about episode 19, Negative Part 1, which I have just finished watching, and this episode was absolutely nuts. This was absolutely fantastic. I loved every second of it. Lots of great action, non-stop drama. Emotions were running high, and the twist at the end, boy oh boy, I did not see that coming at all. Not exactly the way I would have imagined it to go, but when it did happen, holy cow, whew, unbelievable. And I've got to say that, Season 8 has been very up and down, but I would say for the most part, it's been mostly up. There's been a few episodes in between that I didn't really care for that much, but by and large, it's been really good and definitely a big improvement from Season 7, because Season 7, apart from some standout moments, I didn't like that season very much. But Season 8, it's been really good so far, and this episode in particular absolutely blew my mind. Now, as I already mentioned, that this episode is called Negative, and it's part 1, so this is going to be pretty much, you could say, a two-part finale for Season 8. So episode 19 is part 1, and episode 20 is part 2, which is credited as the Season 8 finale. But it's very interesting to see how much the show has changed for this season. And it's almost like everybody has just kind of taken a step back and decided that, you know what we're going to do? We're going to go back to the roots of the show. We're going to go back to what made The Flash such a fantastic show. And you could almost see that the show's kind of gone back to the roots of the earlier seasons, of seasons 1 to 3. And, it's been a blast to see Barry Allen back in the lead role as the main guy, figuring things out on his own, using his speed more, and just being the hero that we all know and love, the fastest man alive, the Scarlet Speedster, all of that stuff, and not constantly relying on Team Flash to help him out. I mean, they were still there, and they are still there, but ultimately, Barry Allen is the guy. He's doing everything on his own. And Team Flash, although they had a role in this episode, it didn't really overshadow Barry Allen that much. It was still very much Barry Allen's story, doing his thing, and I loved it. I absolutely loved this episode, and it's really got me pumped up for the Season 8 finale. And as I said, that twist, anybody who's read the Flash comics, or the more recent ones, shall I say, you know the twist I'm talking about. There was a moment at the end which was very close to the comic books, which I will talk about in a moment. And when I saw it happen, I said to myself, wow, they actually went there and did it. I didn't think they would do that, but they did. They really did. So, as always, I'm going to give a quick recap of what's happened so far, and then we're going to get straight into talking about episode 19, which just, even as I'm telling you guys right now, it's just absolutely blew my mind. It's just been crazy. So, as we saw in the previous episode, we've seen Eobard Thawne back, the real Eobard Thawne, played superbly by Matt Lishner, and we have an Eobard Thawne who has no speed, looking his age, looking very old and frail, locked up in Lian Yu, the same island where the Green Arrow was born. So, how is it possible that two Thawnes are existing? Really, really weird, but it's made for a very interesting episode, I would say. Now, this Eobard Thawne, unlike the original one, who was hell-bent on constantly trying to hurt Barry and make his life a living hell, this Eobard Thawne is caring, he's a good person, and he's in love with Mina Dahwan, who is also a speedster who goes by the name Fast Track. So it's really weird how two Thawnes are coexisting, but they're the complete polar opposites. And, This Eobard Fawn actually helped Barry Allen save Mina from going completely to the dark side. Ultimately, in the end, he came out as the hero, which was a very weird and unusual twist, to say the very least. So I was waiting for this Eobard Fawn to turn evil. It didn't happen. But the ending, the way it ended, we saw Dion come to Fawn's cell. That's the Fawn that's wearing Harrison Wells' face. Say to him that I'm going to give you everything that you want. I'm going to help you fulfill your destiny. And that's how we ended episode 18. So that's set up for a very exciting episode 19. But as I said, episode 18 was really good, and episode 19 was not only very good, but it absolutely blew episode 18 out of the water. I absolutely loved it. And this also will tie into the time sickness of Iris West, which we are going to talk about in a moment. But this was really, really good, this episode. So with that all said, let's get straight into it. Let's not waste any more time. Let's talk about episode 19, Negative, Part 1. So this episode opens up in Central City in 2049, and we see Nora and Bart are playing computer games when Iris appears in their home after emerging from the Steel Force, after they had just spoken to future Iris, and with Dion preventing them from taking her back to her own timeline. We see that Iris West is stuck in 2049. Meanwhile, back in the present Central City, Barry Allen and Team Flash have developed a supersuit for Mina that monitors her connection to the negative Speed Force, so it will prevent her from being corrupted again. When Mina struggles with maintaining control of her speed, Barry Allen encourages her to be the person that she's meant to be and be the hero that she's going to be, and he also reveals his secret identity to her. Now, the whole Barry Allen revealing his secret identity to virtually everyone does get a bit old, because it just seems like everybody in Central City knows who this guy is, and I get why they do it, but at the same time, it just really gets old now. It's just like, really? You're going to tell the dog that you're the Flash? Come on. Kind of wish they changed it up a bit, but I can understand why they did it, but at the same time, it just gets a bit old. We also see Barry pointing out to Mina that she has come far well, recommending that she use her speed at her own pace, and he also gives her a new code name, Fast Track. We also see on Lian Yu, the villainous Fawn, meeting with Dion, has arrived to free him and restores his super speed, only for Dion to quickly age Fawn to death, leaving him a pile of bones. Did not see that coming at all. While Barry and Team Flash investigate Fawn's death and Dion's whereabouts, we also see ex-supervillain Rosa Dillon confront Cecile over stealing her telepathic superpowers to use in her own career, and back at Fast Track Labs. Mina and the good Eobard Fawn are confronted by Dion and the other members of the Steel Force, who want to kill this Eobard Fawn, who sees him as someone who's in their way. Barry Allen manages to drive the forces away after the group reveals they are out to assert full control over the negative force. This development coincides with the arrival of Nora Allen from 2049, seeking Barry's help after discovering that Iris's temporal sickness was caused by the presence of the negative tachyons in her body. While visiting the Royal Flush Gang leader Mona Taylor in Iron Heights, Cecile steals her telepathic powers and learns what Team Flash is facing. She vows to lend her help for them. We also see in this episode Cecile leads Allegra and Chester to take on the negative forces with Cecile's telepathy, keeping Dion at bay while Chester outsmarts Fruza. Barry coaches Mina on how to share her connection to the negative Speed Force with Fawn, and we see this Eobard Fawn become the Reverse Flash, but with twist. Reverse Flash is helping Barry Allen, a good Reverse Flash, as the three speedsters charge into battle just as the negative forces overpower Cecile, Chester, and Allegra. This battle triggers worsening temporal sickness for Iris in 2049, leaving Nora and Bart even more concerned about their mum's condition. While Mina and Fawn keep the negative forces at bay, Barry runs around Central City to build up enough speed force lightning for one major attack that will neutralize their enemies. Just as Barry flings the lightning, Dion snaps his fingers and brings Iris back to the present to take the full brunt of the blow, and she dies in Barry's arms. This sacrifice is revealed to also help bring the resurrection of the evil Fawn, who bursts out of the heroic Eobard Fawn's body as he rips open his own face to reveal the real Reverse Flash, something that you would have seen in the recent comic books. And Reverse Flash very evilly says, "Thanks for the resurrection, Flash." And he runs off as we see Iris dies in Barry's arms and disappears. And that's how we end episode 19. Wow. Did not expect this at all. Didn't see this coming. This was just unbelievable. And, you know, it's a possibility as well that I just wanted to quickly mention in this episode, that it could be possible that Caitlin could also be setting herself up to becoming Killer Frost, but as a villain, you know, especially the way Barry trashed her stuff. So there was that stuff going on there. So we might see all that pay off in the season 8 finale. But wow, Iris dying. Didn't see that coming. Although I don't think she's dead. I think she's just disappeared into the Still Force. But boy, this is a huge game changer. Killing off Iris West. And I know, you know, a lot of people have not been too keen on Iris West. But boy, I didn't really think they would go there. I mean, even just for one episode, just to pull the trigger like that was just insane. I mean, they did tease Iris dying in season 3 at the hands of Savitar. But, you know, ultimately things worked out for the best. But to do it in this manner, and Barry Allen being the one who indirectly caused that death, just nuts. And the way this episode ended, you know, with Eobard Fawn screaming in pain, and he rips his face off and to reveal the real Eobard Fawn, you know, the Harrison Wells Eobard Fawn in the Reverse Flash costume. You know, that was something I remembered in the recent comic books. You know, I never really thought they would do that, but wow, this is unbelievable. And I'm really looking forward to the season 8 finale, which is part 2, Negative. Can't wait. So this is going to be really, really good. And it's going to be really interesting to see how this is going to set up for season 9, which we know is going to be the final one. So that's going to be it from me. I'm going to wrap this up now. What was your thoughts on episode 19? Did you enjoy it? What was your thoughts on Eobard Fawn dying and then coming back in the good Eobard Fawn's body? Did you enjoy that twist? How did you feel about Iris dying at the hands of Barry Allen's own lightning blast? Do you think she'll be able to come back, or do you think they have really pulled the trigger and actually have killed her off? And how does this set up for the season 8 finale? How do the members of the Still Force, how do they play into all of this? And also, how do you think this is all going to go down? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below. And I will see all of you next time for the final edition of the Flash Season 8 review series, where I am going to be talking about episode 20, which is part 2 of this 2-part finale, which I am very much looking forward to seeing, especially with the way this episode ended. It's going to be absolutely nuts, and I can't wait to see how all of this is going to play out. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe, and once again, as always, much appreciated. Thanks for listening.